Hey guys, it's me, Sam Stein, managing editor at the Bulwark. We're here with Will Saletan. We are going to be talking about the pardoning of the people who rioted on January 6th, as well as the commutation of the sentences of many of the people who instigated the riot, the members of the Proud Boys. This is just breaking tonight. It's Monday. It's like 8:15 p.m.-ish that we're recording this. Trump has been inaugurated, obviously. He signed a slew of executive orders. We're going to get into it with Will, but before we do, you've been with us all day. We appreciate it. Do sign up and subscribe to our YouTube feed. A lot of great content all day today, and that we will continue to have this type of content. All right. So, Will, we were all sort of waiting for this. Kind of some debate, even among Trump people, about what he would do with the scope of the pardons for those people who rioted and were convicted of rioting on January 6th. And then it comes out, the language of the pardon comes out tonight, and it's about as broad as you could get. I'm going to read the most important element here. He's going to commute the sentences of the following individuals. There's about 14 of them. They're all people who were involved in organizing or convicted for organizing the riot. And then Part B, grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. In addition to this, I should just note, it's been reported that the now Trump Justice Department is going to drop any pending cases against people who were involved in January 6th, of which there were many, actually. Man, just shocked. I'm not shocked, obviously, because it's kind of so unexpected, but it's just, it's a remarkably grim development, I think, when the entire slate of prosecutions for an attempted insurrection is just completely wiped clean in one light.
Right. I don't want to mince any words here. What this means is on the first day of this administration, Donald Trump and his government have signaled that this is an administration that supports political violence, okay? Yeah. Is pardoning people who committed violence. That is the takeaway. I mean, I know I'm supposed to be the pony guy. I'm not the pony guy at all right now. We are knee deep in authoritarianism, and the political violence is just so. The discussion before this, Sam, as you know, was, is Trump going to distinguish between people who committed violence as part of the attack and those who did not? You could have, walked into the Capitol, run into the Capitol, you smeared feces on the wall or whatever, but at least we weren't going to pardon the people who committed violence. First of all, everybody's walking, as far as I can tell from reading that.
Yeah, there's no ambiguity here.
Enrique Tarrio's getting out. Like everybody's getting out one way or another, a pardon or a commutation, no matter what they did. And I was looking at the numbers. It looks to me, if I count rightly, there are about 250 people who are already convicted of assaulting police or media. The vast majority of that is against the police officers, right?
Right.
So if I'm reading this order correctly, about a dozen or so people who got commutations. And again, those people who are walking are the people who organized the rally. Everybody else, including the 250 people convicted of assaulting police officers, are fully pardoned. They're not just walking out, they're fully pardoned. Okay, that is an endorsement by the United States government, by the administration of Donald Trump, of political violence.
Yeah, it's an endorsement of political violence. It's an endorsement of violence against police for people who claim to back the blue. I just want to underscore what you were saying about this kind of distinction, that an artificial distinction that was held up for the past week. Mike Johnson, J.D. Vance, both of them were on the record saying that Donald Trump would distinguish between the violent offenders and the non-violent offenders. This was J.D. Vance 8 days ago on Fox News.
January 6th pardons, President Trump says there's a process. Where is the line drawn on who will and wouldn't be considered for a pardon?
I think it's very simple. Look, if you protested peacefully on January the 6th and you've had Merrick Garland's Department of Justice treat you like a gang member, you should be pardoned. If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. And there's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law. And there are a lot of people, we think, in the wake of January the 6th who were prosecuted unfairly. We need to rectify that.
It's the obviously that kills me. Obviously, you should have been. Obviously, that's insane. Like, we would never do so. Oh, wait. Of course, he's going to be like, I'm kind of curious how he spins his way out of this one. What do you think? What's he going to do? It's Donald Trump's prerogative,
I love this. Look, I thought I was naive for always thinking, well, things won't happen because it would obviously be wrong for them to happen. Look, with Donald Trump, the wrong thing does happen. But Sam, it's worth noting that J.D. Vance, who's like his vice president, his buddy, his running mate, right? He's that even J.D. Vance clearly overestimated Donald Trump's morals, right?
Yeah.
And he went on TV and made this statement, which is that he put himself on the line to say that, right?
Right.
So he clearly thought that there was some like shred of decency here that was going to be. And Sam, what he says about the gray area, like he's like, well, we're not going to pardon the violent people, but there's a little bit of gray area. Sam, there's no gray area here.
Right.
Everybody, if I read this correctly, this pardon for not everybody who committed violence but was not convicted of seditious conspiracy appears to be walking out with a full pardon.
And the one who were committed of seditious conspiracy, they get a commutation. So it's like
right. So there's no gray area here.
Right.
It's all black and white, and it's just.
Let's play what Trump said, because he was asked about outside agitators. So he's in the Oval Office. He's taking questions. He's doing all these. Signing all these executive orders. He announced earlier in the night that he's going to do these pardons. And then he's asked, like, well, what about the outside agitators? And this is what he had to say.
What they've done to these people is outrageous. There's rarely been anything like it in the history of our country. And even people that were aggressive, and in many cases, I believe they happen to be outside agitators, but, what do I know, right? But I think they were outside agitators. There were outside agitators involved. And obviously the FBI was involved because Wray admitted the FBI was involved. Didn't he say 23 people indirectly or directly were involved? And it was then 26. That's a lot of people. Now we got to take care of these people have been treated so badly. It's never happened before. What happened in Seattle where they took over a big portion of the city? What happened in...
So, yeah, let's do a little bit of cleanup here. What he's referring to with Christopher Wray is an FBI Inspector General report. It found that there were, informants who were on the scene, but that has nothing to do with them agitating for the insurrection. There are FBI informants in many facets of life. It doesn't mean that they are good people or bad people. They just talk to the FBI. So and in fact, the Inspector General report explicitly said they did not infiltrate the Capitol or encourage people to do so. And then the outside agitators. Do you want to take that one? That's a long-standing conspiracy.
Oh, this is like, Ray Epps, that there's like some people who are planted by Antifa. This started like the day after January 6th.
This was not even a day. It was like hours.
Oh, yeah, right. The same day they started this myth that it was out, but we sort of moved past that. The outside agitators theory was January 6th is bad, but it was done by other people, not by our people. Right. And that sort of got debunked. And now we're at the stage where January 6th, according to Trump, is great.
Well, see, that's what I don't get about this logic. If, in fact, outside agitators were involved in this and they set up this massive web to entrap all these Trump people, wouldn't you not want to pardon them? Wouldn't you want to keep them in jail? Like, isn't that bad? But no, he's just going to go blanket pardon everybody.
Yeah, I guess the sort of combination theory is that all these people who went to jail for doing violence were like egged on by outside. Now, I mean, to be fair, Sam, they were egged on by an agitator, but the agitator was Donald Trump.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
So yeah.
And he was outside the Capitol. I'll give him that. He was outside for a portion of the day on the mall too. So I guess technically an outside agitator. This is madness, man. I don't even know. The thing about this that drives me crazy is I don't think it's going to matter. Honestly, because it's coming in an avalanche of just, and this is the ban in theory, just flood the zone with shit. Like there is 18 other things happening right now. There's the executive order to end birthright citizenship. We're pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords. Draconian immigration policies. All this stuff against trans individuals. It's left and right. I mean, a report just came down that Afghan refugees who are trying to relocate to our country because they served as interpreters or they have spouses here. They can no longer get in.
Right.
And you sit back and you sort of think about it from a news gathering perspective, and you ask yourself, well, which one's the worst? Like, which one's the most deserving of our coverage and our outrage, and which one should we prioritize? And when you have to make those decisions, inevitably everything gets like short shrift.
Right. So let's just say, I'll speak for myself as a Bulwark person. This is the headline. This is it. The United States of America has crossed the line where the President of the United States has endorsed political violence. He's pardoned people who actually did it on his behalf. Not just, and Sam, let me come back to what you pointed out at the beginning. Not just political violence, which is bad enough. The violence was against police officers. Here's a guy who just gave an inaugural address about law and order, right? And the law and order apparently only applies to people on the other side. It doesn't apply to Americans who commit crimes on Donald Trump's behalf.
Right.
All these people got convicted. He says, I don't care. You're all commuted. You're all pardoned. You're walking out.
The other thing here is that, look, obviously, when he won, it was the die was cast. Merrick Garland, I will say a lot of criticism towards Merrick Garland about how he handled things, but this was hundreds of convictions that his Department of Justice put together. I think most objective observers of how the DOJ operated under Garland have commended him for just the ability to get this many convictions. That's wiped clean. The downstream effects of this, though, are amazing and scary. In many cases, the convictions were done because people who were close to the guilty came forward and risked their security to testify against these individuals. And in some cases, it was family members who did that. And there was an interview on CNN that I think is worth showing, because this is the son who turned his own father in because his father stormed the Capitol. Now his father is being released, and I want you all to listen to what this son says and then ask yourself, who the hell is ever going to come forward as a witness for this type of stuff in the future again if they know that this could happen?
Jackson, I appreciate your time. So here we are, and Trump is announcing pardons for January 6 defendants. That this could include your father, who's serving a 6-year sentence, or 6.5-year sentence as we speak. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm honestly flabbergasted that we've gotten to this point. I mean, I'm terrified. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've taken as many precautions as I could recently. I've picked up a gun. I've moved, and I've gotten myself away from what I thought would be a dangerous situation and staying where I thought my dad could find me. Or other people, people that are going to feel so validated by these actions, by this pardon, I'm just so filled with paranoia about what could happen. I've been waiting all day from a call from the DOJ to just figure it out and know what to do next. Because right now I don't, other than just to, sit around and, talk about it.
I don't know. It leaves me like, it's chilling. It's awful. I feel terrible for this kid.
Yeah. And God, you know what, Sam? Listening to that kid, what it reminds me of is all the stories from Republicans about people who were victimized by some illegal alien who was released under Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden gets released, gets blamed for that. And what is going to happen, Sam, when the first January 6th assailant who just got pardoned by Trump or commuted by Trump goes out? What's going to happen if that dad goes after his kid violently, right? Is Trump going to pay a consequence for that, the way that he's made an issue of crime committed by illegal aliens? These are people who have committed violence, and Donald Trump said, go back out on the street. Yeah. Go back out there. I worry about what's going to happen to this kid. I worry about other people and who might be victimized by these folks. So I'm worried about that. And the other thing is, Sam, what the kid said about what the signal that this sends. Right now, if you're a Proud Boy and you haven't committed a crime, or you want to form a Trump militia,
Go for it.
Why should you be afraid?
Yeah,
You
go
know
for
that
it.
Donald Trump will pardon you for your violent acts on his behalf. So will we start to see other violence committed by these Trump militias? And this is where our country is going as a result of the lawlessness that's manifested by and perpetuated by these pardons.
Yeah. No, we've had a very busy day of very controversial pardons. I'm not equating the two. It started with President Biden out the door pardoning his family, in addition to a few other folks, and it ended with this. And look, I think there's a widespread conversation that needs to have around presidential pardon power. It's in the Constitution. It's going to take a lot of work, but I think as an issue of scale and magnitude and downstream impact, what Trump did tonight is of a different beast, basically, than what Biden did. Biden was disgusting cronyism and favoritism for family members and the well-connected. This is undermining the system of justice, in my view. And yeah, it's a wild thing to see. Any final thoughts? Or
I was just going to say, in terms of what I thought what Biden did today was disgusting. He's not the first person to do this. Mark Rich. There's been corrupt pardons at the sort of level of rich guy who buys a pardon. It's all gross. It's been done by Democrats and Republicans. But I just want people to be clear, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, as you said, Sam. This is the headline. The United States of America has crossed the line where the government under President Trump has just endorsed and sanctioned political violence.
It's day one. Not even day one. Half day in. All right, Will Saletan. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Wish it was better circumstances, but I knew you're the right person to break down what had happened. Again, do subscribe to the feed. This is, important stuff, important issues we're talking about. We, rely on reader support and viewer support. So subscribe, share, and tune in whenever we post something new. Thanks a bunch, guys.